Hey friends, I'm AJ Smith and welcome to Oh My Goodness. This is a podcast to dive into all the different things that make us go, oh my goodness. Maybe it's something really big and heavy happened. Maybe something really excited happened. Maybe something feels off or you're frustrated. You're just like, I don't know what to do next. I am AJ Smith. I go by the Joy Weaver. I do energy work, life coaching, card readings, and red tents and sacred spaces. I help people tap into their inner knowing, connect to their higher power, and figure out their next right steps in a way that feels aligned and embodied for them. This podcast is meant to give you the tools to do the same thing that I help my one on one clients, that I help people in red tents, and that I help people in retreats. In here, we're going to have meditations. We're going to have musings on, like, okay, let's break down bravery. Let's break down curiosity. Let's figure out how we navigate creativity without the shame and without the burden of it has to be perfect or nothing works, right? I see you doing your best. I see you doing the next right thing and also feeling frustrated that dreams you had didn't come to fruition the way that you wanted them to. I see you excited and grateful for the moments of connection that you have and delight that you find and soaking in the joy where you see it. And I see you in the, isn't there more to this? Isn't there more juice we can suck out of life? Isn't there more grounding connection I can have with my inner knowing and living in more deeper, purpose filled goodness? Isn't there more joy, wonder, and delight to have? So often we set goals and we're like, are they smart? But like, are they fun? Not every goal has to be a really serious one, but are you having any fun? Are you having any delight, wonder, joy? Sometimes life is hard. We have hard seasons that are brutal and strip us to our core. I'm like, does this work? Is this working for us? Nope. Okay, what about this friendship? Okay, let's calibrate here, right? And other seasons are ones where we're just like, oh, okay, I get a break, or this is my nesting season. Don't message me, don't talk to me. We have these different seasons we go through. And also, sometimes we know that something is possible, but we don't understand the tool or the way to do it. And so I'm here to give you tangible tools, tricks, ideas, ways, things that have helped me, things that have helped other people. Sometimes it's going to be a language thing, like Brene Brown, the story I'm making up my head is XYZ, right? Or it might be like Mel Robbins has her 5 3 2 1. And it also might be, hey, did you pause? Did you tune in? Did you ask? Because I believe our bodies know, right? And I believe that your soul is intrinsically good. Whether you believe in God, universe, goddess, spirit, flow, it doesn't matter on this podcast. I believe that there's a force greater than ourselves, and we are here for a reason, a purpose. Individually, each person is here in this moment in time, not by mistake. And if that's true, then wouldn't it stand to reason that when you were brought into this world, that there was, oh, they're here. Cool. Just like I dreamed it. And you have a soul. You have these nudges. And you're like, maybe you're like, AJ, I do not know what you're talking about. Any nudges? Have you ever wanted to do something that you're like, oh, let's go see that? That like curiosity that like lights you up inside, or seen a sunset or a mountain or a river, or you were with friends laughing. You're just like, oh, this is the goodness. That's your soul. That's your body being like, yes, I was meant to nourish and receive this and be in it, right? So, how do we weave that intentionally into our lives? That's what I'm here for, is to help us live lives that are aligned, rooted, grounded, embodied, cozy, delightful. So, whether you're feeling like a feisty potato today or a sparkly potato today, or you're just like, AJ, I don't even know where I'm at, that's okay. It's all welcome here. As Mama Gina says, your whole 88 keys of expression, right? The good, the hard, the bad, the sad, the ugly, the happy, the joy. So often we think we either have to feel this or that. Well, they're suffering, so I can't have joy. Or this bad thing happened in my day and this good thing happened, but it doesn't really count. But what if we could have our hands open to both? What if we can hold both? What if we remember that this life is navigating a whole adventure? I'm also a military spouse, and at each base, we move about every 3 years. And I think about a base as kind of like a video game level, right? Each base is a level that has people to meet, things to do, people to collaborate with, to dream, things to learn, things to see, adventures to have. And it is my choice on whether I do those things or not. But either way, those 3 years will go by, and then it's time for the next base, the next level. And whether or not I'm ready depends on what I do now in this space. And sometimes there's things that I don't all get to that I wish I did. And there's things I'm like, I did not realize I was going to be learning that. I wish somebody would have warned me, prepared me. But okay, how do I want to show up next, right? And maybe you're not a military spouse. Maybe you've never moved in your life. Maybe you're like, oh, AJ, I'm a nomad. I move every month. There's ways you can apply things you learn here and in your everyday life to nourish yourself and to show up in a way that feels good. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I look around and I'm like, the way that we're doing this, there are better ways. There are better ways. And although I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm like, if everybody could just XYZ, it would all be great. But we can't do that, right? That whole free will situation. And so, what can you do? How can you show up in your life in a way that is in alignment? What were you created to do and show up as? And so my role here, as far as I know, and as far as what feels revealed to me, is to be almost like a maintainer for a flight. In the Air Force, they have maintainers. And so when the planes come in, they get checked, right? They get refueled, they get wiped down, pipes that are broken get fixed, and then updates given to the pilots. And so that's what I'm here as a maintainer of souls, energy, encouragement, that you can come here after a hard day or a great day and celebrate. I've got maracas to shake in celebration for you, give you some hype, and also to hold you and wrap you in a soft blanket in reality in my home or energetically, right? Because sometimes when we come in after a big flight, after a big day, after a big year, we're like, something's wrong, but I don't know what. I can't put my finger on it, right? And then sometimes what happens is we start to shame spiral because we don't know what's going on. But what if you just haven't learned it yet? What if we bring in some play, some like kindergarten style learning here of you just haven't learned this yet. Just like you take extra classes in high school or in college, and you're like, oh, I could take a watercolor course. Oh, I could take a learning how to talk to my body course. Oh, I could learn how to use vulnerability alongside my creativity to express myself and process some things I haven't processed in a while, right? We don't know these things until we know them. So, can we be easy and gentle with ourselves, or tender and gentle, as my mentor likes to say, as we learn and grow? And that's what I'm here for, is that when your plane comes in, whether you're working with me or whether you're listening just for yourself to be like, okay, let's dive in, that you're like, oh, okay. Oh, I can tune in. Oh, here's what does this look like? Okay, my body feels like tense here. And then we learn how to ask and then how to move with that, right? So I'm here for your tools. I'm here for your learning. I'm here for your thriving. I believe all ships rise in high tide and that we're human. We're learning and we're growing. And these things take practice, right? I've been in the space of growth, self-confidence, all that jazz for 15, almost plus now years, 18 years. And running sacred spaces like Red Tins for about 9 years and doing one-on-one work for about 5 years. And then working in nonprofits, after school programs, schools, businesses in different facets for about 17 years. And so I've seen a whole spectrum from 3-year-olds to 65-year-olds, and nothing's new under the sun. We often think, I'm the only one, or nobody else would understand, but we're all very human with very similar emotions, doing our best to process it, sort it, understand it. I often joke that our brains are hoarders and holding on to stories or trying to process and sort in real time. It's like the program's only as good as the training we give it, right? As the programming that we include. And so sometimes we got to rewrite some code. Sometimes we got to be like, ooh, that's some a shady code. That's not working for me. And figure out a new way of thinking about things, of replacing thoughts. I've learned from so many people, Julie Wells, Haley Reese, Mama Gina, um, Mary Grace, the Messy Healer, and read like a fiend. I love book recommendations. So you will also always walk away with book recommendations. If you want to watch the YouTube video of these, I will post them on my The Joy Weaver YouTube page. And I'll post the transcripts on my blog in case that feels more supportive. Because you are worthy of goodness. The reason I'm starting this podcast is because I'd often go on my Facebook page and do lives, but things get lost, right? And sometimes when we need a resource or we need a tool or we're like, hey, I'm really struggling with XYZ. Where do I go? What can I find? We feel stuck. And so this podcast is meant for you to have a way to, okay, search. Okay, how do I listen? How do I have some intuition? Okay, how do I sort through something that feels sticky right now? What are 3 options for when it's really loud in my brain? This isn't therapy or things like that, but it is a place for you to get some clarity, for you to find some rest. I'm going to throw some meditations in here as well, and also some voice memo style podcasts of encouragement. So if you have a hard day and you're like, I need some hype vibes, there will be short little 3-minute hype up. Like, you got this, look at you, beast mode before you go do a presentation or a job or a cozy. You did your best. I'm so proud of you. Tomorrow's a new day. Kind of little clips that you can listen to whenever you need. I'm here for you, remembering that you are doing your best, even on days when you're like, no, AJ, I didn't. What if your capacity was only 40% today and you gave 40%? Or what if your capacity was 40% and you're like, I had to give 30 just so I could get home and get into bed? Like, that counts as doing your best. And if we take some of the shame and the guilt off of it and also look at the world around us, right? The perspective I'm coming from is a white American woman who is married. I've been married for 15 and a half years now. Kind of open, spiritually wise. I grew up evangelical, and in 2016, 2017 was kind of deconstructing, and now things are a bit more open that way. And I'm also ADHD combined type, and I've been sober for 3.5 years now. So I get the ups and downs that we go through. We've moved every 3 years for the last 12 years, roughly. I've started my business from scratch about 5 times now, switched my business entirely about 7 times, or added different things or marketing. So if you're like, okay, but this is different, or this is changing, or this is transitioning, or like, it's just so loud in here, I can't think straight. Like, I understand. And sometimes we can't fix it all, right? Sometimes we're like, but I listened to this one meditation, everything should be better. But if things have been hard for 10 years, maybe it's going to take us more than a day to feel entirely better. So what if we think about it as opening up a door? Like at night, when it's night in your room and the hallway light is on, like, do you remember growing up and maybe the hallway light was on? If you crack the door, a little bit of light comes in your room and it opens it up and you're like, oh, okay, I can see now. That's what we're working with, is these little 1% shifts of like, oh, there's a little bit more space in my body to feel or think or breathe. Oh, okay, I can try this, right? It's a practice. We're learning. Of course, we're not good at certain things yet. We haven't done it before. The first time I did henna versus now, that's a 9-year difference. Of course, it's going to be different. So these things take time, they take practice, and I believe in you. I believe in your willingness to show up for yourself and try new things. So that's what you can get from this podcast. I am stoked to start this and to share goodness and see how it unfurls. This is a nudge I've had for a couple years now. And finally, it was like, it is time in Mufasa vibes. So if you like Disney references, fun song brings, Morocco moments, an encouragement and a hype woman who has your back, this podcast is for you. And if you have any questions or you're like, oh, hey, I would love a voicemail style podcast on XYZ or a meditation on this or something I'd love for you to cover, send me a message at thejoyweaver@gmail.com or on Instagram, Facebook, because I'm here for you. I'm here for your thriving. So sing your soul song, friends, and have a marvelous day.